Commander Hopkins of Waynesboro Police Department Criminal Investigation Division, reference two incidents that's taking place this 4th of July weekend in Waynesboro. On the 4th of July night, approximately 1:10 or 0:10 in the morning, 10 minutes after midnight, on the 5th of July, we had the first shooting that occurred. It occurred on East Fairview at a pool party that was being conducted. Investigation was called and notified of the subject being transported to the hospital with a single gunshot wound. On arrival, after speaking with the victim, the initial report was that he was shot while fleeing from another person with a gun. Further investigation led us to discover that it was an accidental shooting. The individual had shot himself in the foot with a .22 caliber pistol, and the bullet had entered his left heel, come out of the heel, went through the floorboard of the vehicle, and expanded into the roadway. After getting everything down and re-speaking with the victim, he admitted to the fact that he had shot himself in the foot and that had placed the gun away. His name is Dorico D. McDougal. Dorico D. McDougal, 19 years old.
Spell Dorico.
D-I-R-E-C-O. He was treated and released at the hospital.
Last name again?
McDougal, M-C-D-O-U-G-L-E.
19.
Approximately an hour and 15 minutes later, Waynesboro Police Department received another call to a stabbing. While en route to the stabbing, we received a call that it was also involving a shooting and that we had one person down. We were dispatched to the Embassy Club. Initial officer on the scene arrived. There was numerous people leaving the scene. As we arrived, we were informed that one victim had been taken to Wayne General with a gunshot wound to the chest. Another victim was taken to Wayne General with a stab wound to the abdomen. The investigation at the scene led us to discover several projectile rounds from a single caliber weapon. Once we got the scene completed, I immediately went to the hospital. I spoke with the stabbing victim, who is identified as Travis McDonald, 24 years of age. Mr. McDonald was stabbed in the left lower abdomen by a knife while partying inside the club. This is not believed to be gang-related, but it is associated to east side, west side Waynesboro. Mr. McDonald stated that the victim of the shooting, Mr. Douglas Bernard McGill, was shot one time and fell to the ground. My investigation led to me finding 5 shots being found. One did strike Mr. McGill, struck Mr. McGill in the left upper chest in the vicinity of the aorta. The wound was penetrating but did not exit. Appeared to be of a small caliber weapon.
Say his first name again for me.
Douglas Bernard McGill. Mr. McGill was transported to the hospital by private vehicle. On arrival, emergency room operators began working on him but was unable to revive him. Mr. McGill died from the gunshot wound to the chest. Apparently at this time, he was taken to Jackson to the morgue for autopsy. Results have not been returned at this time. Mr. McDonald, who was the stabbing victim, was treated and released from the hospital following minor surgery. We have one subject in custody now. That person being identified as one Antonio Lorenzo McDougal. Antonio Lorenzo McDougal, approximately 26 years of age. He is in custody and currently incarcerated at Wayne County Detention Center. We are also looking at this time for one other suspect who has been identified to us as Frances Warson, approximately a 30-year-old black male from the Waynesboro area. I currently have active warrants on him, and we hope to have him in custody today or sometime within the near future. I'll entertain questions at any time.
Antonio, what's the last name?
Antonio McDougal, McDougle.
D-O-U-G-L-E. Okay, and then Francis,
F-R-A-N.
I mean,
Franchez, Worsham, W-O-R-S-H-A-M.
What was the age on McGill, on the victim?
McGill was 37 years of age.
And you said associated with east side, west side. Is that
Based on the information that we have received, that from all of the witnesses' statements, there was posturing being done inside the club from the music that was being played, and that a person from outside of the Waynesboro area instigated the incident, who has been identified as the Worsham subject, and encountered the McDonald subject. And at that point, there was some friction between them, and McDougal stepped forward and stabbed McDonald into the left abdomen.
how old is Warson?
Worsham is, I believe, 30 years of age. 1 second, I can tell you for sure. Correction, he is going to be 24 years of age. That's correct. 23 or 24 years of age.
So McDougal stabbed Worsham and then it went outside? Or?
Worsham initiated the encounter with McDonald.
Right,
I told you these mics are going to get you.
right.
McDougal, Worsham instigated the encounter with McDonald. McDonald tried to get Worsham away. At that point, Worsham stepped to the side, McDougal stepped forward and stabbed McDonald in the abdomen. At that point, people started vacating the club. McGill, who is the deceased, left the club. As he exited the club, he seen McDougal with a firearm coming back towards the club. That's what the witnesses have stated. And at that point, from all witnesses' statements, is McDougal at that point began firing rounds, one of which struck McGill and caused him to become deceased.
This isn't the first time something like this has happened at this club, correct? I believe maybe a year ago there was a shooting.
That's correct.
And so is there a history of violence at this establishment?
If you base it on just 2 incidents, I wouldn't say it's a history. We don't have a everyday shooting there, but there has been incidents where there's been problems at that club. It's being looked into at this time. It is actually, I'm investigating that now to see if it's up to standards and codes, along with the police chief, fire chief, and the others, to see if we have any problems that have been encountered from that particular club.
Okay.
Where were they arrested?
Actually, McDougal surrendered himself yesterday to the Wayne County Sheriff's Department at approximately 1700. He had heard that we had warrants out for him and surrendered himself into the Sheriff's Department at that time.
What are his exact charges? Aggravated assault and murder?
There is currently 3 charges on McDougal. He is charged with first-degree murder. He is charged with aggravated assault with a weapon likely to produce death or serious bodily harm from a knife, and aggravated assault manifesting extreme indifference to human life based on the rounds that were fired in the direction of the club and the others out. That's the wrong one. Let me get that together. I'm sorry. Franchez Worsham has been charged with aggravated assault with a knife in connection with McDougal stabbing McDonald as he instigated the incident and brought it forward. He's also been charged with accessory after the fact to aggravated assault shooting into the club, accessory after the fact to aggravated assault to the knifing of McDonald, and accessory after the fact to the first-degree murder of McGill. He currently has 4 outstanding warrants on him. I would ask the Worsham if he he is seeing this, he'll surrender himself to the police department. We will take every means to ensure his safety and his custody, and he can, be brought before the judge, and if bond can be arranged, he can arrange bond to be bonded out. But, Mr. Worsham, you need to surrender yourself, come see us, turn yourself in. We will not give up on looking for you. We will find you somewhere within the